Once upon a time, in a vast and lush forest, there lived a young turtle named Lumi. Unlike the other creatures around her, Lumi was slow. While the birds soared through the sky, the squirrels dashed up trees, and the rabbits hopped along the forest paths, Lumi took her time. Her tiny legs moved steadily, but her pace was often a source of mockery from the faster animals. "Hurry up, Lumi," they would call, their voices teasing. "You'll never get anywhere moving so slowly." But Lumi, ever patient and calm, knew that each step she took was important. She didn't mind the teasing. After all, she had her own rhythm, her own way of seeing the world. One evening, as the sun began to sink behind the distant hills, casting long shadows across the forest floor, Lumi heard something unusual, a soft, gentle voice calling her name. It wasn't the voice of any creature she knew, but it was kind and inviting. The voice spoke of a faraway place, a kingdom where the sky touched the earth, and dreams became real. This place, called the Sun Kingdom, was where Lumi was meant to go. Lumi's heart stirred with a sense of purpose. Though others may not understand, she knew that she had to embark on this journey, no matter how long it might take. As the last rays of sunlight bathed the forest in a golden glow, Lumi made her decision. She would set out on her journey to the Sun Kingdom. The other creatures of the forest, oblivious to the voice calling her, continued with their fast-paced lives. But Lumi, determined as ever, began her slow and steady journey. With each step, she felt the weight of her shell and the soft earth beneath her feet, but it didn't matter. Her heart was light with purpose. Lumi knew that she wouldn't reach the Sun Kingdom quickly. She was a turtle after all, and her pace was not meant to match the speed of others. But as she moved deeper into the forest, something inside her whispered that every step, no matter how slow, was leading her exactly where she needed to be. The journey would be long, yes, but it would be hers. And that thought filled her with a quiet strength. The wind rustled through the trees, and the soft sound of her feet on the forest floor was the only noise that accompanied her. Lumi's mind wandered to the voice she had heard, the voice of the Sun Kingdom, calling her to a place where the sky met the earth. She wasn't sure what awaited her there, but she felt as if the journey itself held the answers she needed. As Lumi ventured further into the heart of the forest, the landscape began to change. The trees grew thicker, their trunks wider and more ancient, casting deep shadows over the path. The air was cool and still, save for the occasional rustle of leaves as a breeze passed through. Lumi's shell, though heavy, felt comforting as she carried it with quiet dignity. It was hers to bear, and she was proud of it. The forest around her was alive with creatures that moved swiftly, but none of them took notice of the turtle. Lumi was too slow for them to even consider, and that suited her just fine. She wasn't here to compete with the others. She was on her own path, moving towards something greater. And then, just as she thought the journey might stretch on forever, she heard a voice. This time, it wasn't a distant call but a presence beside her. A hare appeared, its white fur glowing in the soft twilight. "What are you doing, turtle?" the hare asked, its nose twitching in amusement. "You'll never reach the Sun Kingdom at that pace. Why don't you race me? I'll show you how quickly you can get there." Lumi paused for a moment, considering the offer. Racing the hare would surely be faster, but she knew it wasn't the way. "I am not in a rush," Lumi replied, her voice calm. "Every step I take has meaning, and that's enough for me." The hare, surprised by her answer, scoffed and hopped away, still chuckling. But Lumi only smiled, knowing that the journey ahead was hers to take, at her own pace. As Lumi continued her slow journey, the forest grew quieter. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the path. Soon, the familiar sounds of the forest faded, replaced by a soothing silence that filled the air. Lumi walked steadily, keeping her thoughts focused on the Sun Kingdom, wondering what it would be like. Would it be as magnificent as the voice had promised? Her thoughts were interrupted by the sudden appearance of an owl. It perched on a low branch, its large amber eyes glowing in the dusk. "Where are you going, little turtle?" the owl asked, its voice deep and wise. "I'm on my way to the Sun Kingdom," Lumi replied, lifting her head and meeting the owl's gaze. The owl studied her for a moment, and then nodded sagely. "It's a long journey," it said, its voice like the rustling of leaves in the wind. "But remember, sometimes the most important part of a journey is not how fast you get there, but how you embrace each moment. Your pace is your own strength. Don't let others distract you." Lumi listened intently, her heart lifting as she realized the owl was right. The journey was hers alone, and there was wisdom in taking each step with care and patience. The owl's words echoed in her mind as she resumed her slow walk, the forest now quieter than ever. The road ahead still seemed long, but Lumi felt a growing peace in her heart. With each step, she was closer to the Sun Kingdom, and each step, no matter how slow, was bringing her closer to herself. The next day, Lumi awoke to the sound of the wind whispering through the leaves above her. She had found a quiet spot beneath a large oak tree and rested there the night before. The path ahead stretched out before her like a ribbon through the dense forest, winding and winding as far as the eye could see. Lumi stretched her legs, her muscles sore from the long journey, but her determination was as strong as ever. As she slowly made her way along the path, she suddenly heard a rustling nearby. She turned her head to see a small squirrel darting down the trunk of a tree. It was carrying an acorn, its tiny paws moving swiftly as it navigated the forest floor. "Good morning," the squirrel chirped, stopping just short of Lumi's path. "Where are you going so slowly, turtle?" "I'm heading to the Sun Kingdom," Lumi replied with a gentle smile. "It's quite a journey." The squirrel looked at her with wide eyes. "A journey? But you're so slow. How can you make it all the way there?" Paused for a moment, clearly intrigued. "I could help. I'm fast, and I can carry things for you." Lumi shook her head. "Thank you, but my journey is mine alone," she said. "I must walk my own pace no matter how slow. It is the way I must go." The squirrel looked puzzled but nodded. "Well, all right. But if you ever change your mind, you know where to find me." With a quick flick of its tail, the squirrel scampered up the tree and disappeared into the branches above. Lumi chuckled softly, her heart lighter. She continued her journey, step by steady step, knowing that even the smallest creatures had their own path to follow, just as she did. The sun rose higher in the sky as Lumi trudged on, the warm light filtering through the canopy above. The air smelled fresh with the scent of damp earth and pine needles, and each step she took felt more sure than the last. She had passed through dense underbrush and thick brambles, her small legs working tirelessly. But nothing could hurry her. Her pace was steady, deliberate, and the forest around her seemed to welcome her as she moved forward. As Lumi navigated a particularly narrow path, she suddenly heard a soft, soothing sound. It was almost like a whisper, gentle and inviting. She followed the sound, her curiosity piqued, and soon came upon a clearing where an old, wise-looking owl sat perched on a branch, its feathers shimmering in the soft sunlight. The owl's eyes were deep and thoughtful, as if they had seen countless journeys and countless travelers. "You seem lost in thought, young one," the owl said, its voice calm and steady. "Are you sure of your way?" Lumi paused, then nodded. "Yes," she replied softly. "I'm headed for the Sun Kingdom. It's a long way, and many creatures think I'm too slow to make it, but I know that this journey is mine to take." The owl tilted its head, considering her words. "Patience is a rare and precious thing," it said slowly. "But remember, even the slowest traveler reaches their destination when they stay true to their path. You're not lost, dear turtle. You're simply moving at the right pace for you." Lumi smiled, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. The owl's words filled her with renewed confidence. She wasn't lost. Her path was unfolding exactly as it should. With a thankful nod to the owl, Lumi resumed her journey, step by steady step. The forest grew quieter as the day wore on, and Lumi began to feel the weight of the journey settling in her bones. The air was thick with humidity, and the sounds of distant thunder rumbled on the horizon. Storm was coming. Lumi didn't mind the weather. She had learned long ago that there was no use in hurrying, no use in rushing. She could weather the storm just like any other part of her journey. Her slow, steady pace had already taught her so much. About patience, about perseverance, and about trusting that everything would unfold as it was meant to. As the first raindrops began to fall, Lumi took shelter beneath a large leaf, watching as the sky darkened with the promise of a full storm. She felt a soft tap on her shoulder and turned to see a small squirrel standing next to her, its fur damp from the rain. "It's getting rough out here," the squirrel said, its voice tinged with concern. "You should come with me to my nest. It's dry there and you can rest." Lumi smiled kindly, shaking her head. "Thank you for your offer, but I must continue on my way. This journey is mine to take, even in the storm." The squirrel blinked in surprise but nodded. "Well, all right. Stay safe, Lumi." With a flick of its tail, the squirrel disappeared into the trees, its movements quick and nimble. Lumi, feeling the storm intensify around her, pressed on. She knew the rain would pass, and so would the storm. She wasn't in a race, and each drop of rain was just another step in the journey. Slowly but steadily, she moved forward, her determination unwavering despite the storm's fury. The storm raged on through the night, but by morning the rain had ceased, leaving the forest damp and still. Lumi, soaked but resolute, resumed her journey, her slow steps squelching softly in the mud. The world seemed fresh, renewed, as if the storm had washed away everything unnecessary, leaving only the clear path ahead. As Lumi trudged up a steep, rocky incline, she met an unexpected sight. Another turtle, much older and with a weathered shell, was slowly making its way down the mountain. The older tortoise's movements were deliberate, and though its pace was slow, there was an undeniable strength in each step. "Greetings, young traveler," the old tortoise said, its voice deep and comforting, like the rumbling of distant thunder. "What brings you so far from home?" "I'm on my way to the Sun Kingdom," Lumi replied, her eyes glistening with determination. "I've been walking for days, but I know that this journey is worth every step, no matter how slow I go." The older tortoise nodded sagely, his gaze filled with understanding. "I too have made this journey in my time," he said. "It is not a race, child. The journey is a reflection of who you are. The slow path reveals the truth of your heart." Lumi paused, taking in the old tortoise's words. She realized that the older turtle had traveled much further than she had, but in his heart, he carried the same steady determination. "Thank you," Lumi said softly, feeling the weight of his wisdom in her bones. "I will continue to walk my own path, no matter how long it takes." With a final nod of understanding, the old tortoise continued his descent down the mountain, leaving Lumi to climb higher, feeling more grounded and at peace with each step she took. As Lumi reached the summit of the mountain, the view before her was breathtaking. The wide expanse of the forest stretched out beneath her, rolling hills and rivers winding in every direction. The air was thin up here, and a cool breeze gently brushed her shell. She took a moment to catch her breath, gazing out at the landscape below. Though she had climbed slowly, she had made it, and her heart swelled with pride. But there was still much to be done. The Sun Kingdom was in the distance, its golden glow beckoning her forward. But between her and the kingdom lay a vast river that stretched across the land like a shimmering silver ribbon. Lumi stood at the edge of the mountain, her gaze fixed on the river, wondering how she would cross. As if in answer to her question, a beaver appeared from behind a large rock. It was busy gnawing on a piece of wood, its sharp teeth making quick work of the bark. When it saw Lumi, The beaver stopped and approached her with a friendly smile. "Hello, little turtle," the beaver said, its voice warm and cheerful. "I see you're headed for the Sun Kingdom. That river is quite a challenge to cross, but I can help you. I've built a dam just upstream, and with it we can cross safely." Lumi smiled, grateful for the beaver's help. "Thank you," she said softly. "I'd appreciate your assistance." The beaver led her to the dam, which was sturdy and well-built, a testament to the beaver's skill. Together they crossed the river, the water flowing gently around them. As Lumi made her way to the other side, she felt a sense of accomplishment. The journey was long, but with each new friend and every act of kindness, she grew closer to the Sun Kingdom. The sun was beginning to dip low in the sky, casting a golden hue across the landscape as Lumi continued on her journey. Her steps were slow but steady, her determination unwavering as the Sun Kingdom drew nearer. She felt a sense of peace that had settled over her, a quiet confidence that had grown with each encounter and every step taken. Along the way, she encountered a fox, a beautiful creature with a sleek red coat and bright, curious eyes. The fox was trotting along the path, and when it saw Lumi, it stopped and regarded her thoughtfully. "Where are you off to, little turtle?" the fox asked, its voice smooth and gentle. "I'm on my way to the Sun Kingdom," Lumi replied, her voice steady. "It's a long journey, but every step I take brings me closer." The fox smiled, its eyes gleaming with admiration. "You're a wise turtle," it said. Many would have turned back by now, discouraged by the distance. But you continue slowly and steadily. I admire that. Here, take this. The fox bent down and offered Lumi a small bundle of berries, their deep red color glowing in the fading light. Lumi was touched by the fox's kindness. "Thank you," she said, accepting the berries. "I'll eat them along the way." The fox gave a small nod and smiled. "Remember, the journey is as important as the destination," it said, its voice soft and full of meaning. "It's not the speed, but the heart with which you travel that matters." With those parting words, the fox turned and disappeared into the woods, leaving Lumi to continue her path, the warmth of the berries in her shell and the fox's wisdom in her heart. Each new lesson added to the sense of purpose that guided her forward. The days passed, each one blending into the next, but Lumi's resolve never wavered. She crossed valleys, climbed hills, and passed through meadows where wildflowers bloomed in every color of the rainbow. Each new day brought a fresh adventure, a new lesson learned, and a deeper understanding of the journey she was on. Finally, one morning, after days of walking beneath the clear blue sky, Lumi reached the highest point in her journey. She had crossed dense forests, climbed steep hills, and even braved the mighty river. As she stood at the summit of a large hill, the entire landscape stretched out before her, the vast forest now a distant memory. In the distance, the golden glow of the Sun Kingdom shimmered like a dream. Lumi paused, catching her breath. The journey had been long, and her legs were weary, but a quiet joy filled her heart. She had come so far, and now the Sun Kingdom was within her reach. She stood there for a long while, gazing out at the kingdom ahead. The warm golden light from the kingdom felt inviting, as though it was calling her home. In that moment, Lumi realized something important. The kingdom was not just a physical place. It was a destination within her heart, a symbol of everything she had learned along the way. She had become stronger, wiser, and more confident, all because of her slow, steady journey. The road ahead was clear, and Lumi began to walk once more, the final leg of her journey now in sight. As Lumi moved forward, her pace as steady as ever, she felt the weight of the journey lifting off her shoulders. The path to the Sun Kingdom was now clear, and with each step, she felt herself growing lighter. The distant glow of the kingdom drew closer, its golden light now illuminating the path ahead, as though the kingdom itself was welcoming her. The road was gentle now, no longer filled with the steep inclines or the deep forests she had crossed. The landscape began to open up, revealing wide, rolling fields that stretched toward the horizon. The air was warm and fragrant, filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers and the hum of busy bees. The further she walked, the more the sunlight seemed to grow, enveloping the land in a soft, golden glow. Lumi's heart fluttered with anticipation as the Sun Kingdom grew closer, but she reminded herself that the journey had never been about the destination. It had been about the steps she had taken, the lessons she had learned along the way, and the belief she had gained in herself. At last, the kingdom stood before her, its golden walls shimmering in the sunlight like something out of a dream. It was a place of beauty, where the sky kissed the earth, and everything seemed to glow with warmth and light. Lumi paused at the kingdom's entrance, her heart full of peace. She had made it. But as she stood there, bathed in the soft glow of the kingdom, Lumi realized something profound. The Sun Kingdom wasn't just a physical place. It was within her all along. Every step she had taken, every moment of patience and perseverance, had brought her closer to the kingdom inside her heart. Lumi entered the Sun Kingdom with a sense of awe and wonder. The golden light enveloped her, and the warmth of the sun seemed to pulse gently, like the beating of a heart. The air was filled with a sweet fragrance, and the ground beneath her felt soft and welcoming. Every step she took seemed to echo with a quiet harmony, as though the kingdom itself was welcoming her after her long journey. As she wandered deeper into the kingdom, she noticed that it was not like any place she had ever seen. The sky was a soft, radiant blue that seemed to stretch on forever, and the land below shimmered with golden fields, lush gardens, and crystal-clear streams. There were trees with leaves that sparkled like diamonds, and flowers that bloomed in every color imaginable. Lumi paused, taking in the beauty of the kingdom. She realized that it wasn't just the physical beauty that was so remarkable. It was the sense of peace, of calm, of belonging that filled the air. This was the place she had been seeking all along, not just with her legs but with her heart. And yet, as Lumi stood in the heart of the Sun Kingdom, she understood that it wasn't the kingdom itself that had called her. It was her belief in herself, her slow, steady journey, and the lessons she had learned along the way that had brought her here. The Sun Kingdom was a reflection of everything she had become, a place of self-belief, patience, and quiet strength. With a deep breath, Lumi closed her eyes and allowed the warmth of the sun to surround her, feeling a deep sense of peace wash over her. She had arrived not just at a destination, but at a place of understanding within herself. As Lumi stood there, bathed in the warm golden light of the Sun Kingdom, she realized something deeply profound. The kingdom was not a place she had to reach physically. It had always been within her, waiting for her to discover it. The journey, with all its slow steps and lessons, had been about finding that place of peace and self-belief inside her heart. She had been mocked for her slowness, and others had rushed ahead, leaving her behind. But now, as she stood in the heart of the Sun Kingdom, she understood. It wasn't the speed of the journey that mattered. It was the belief in her own pace, the trust in her own journey, and the realization that every small step had meaning. Lumi slowly walked through the kingdom, feeling the gentle warmth of the sun on her shell, her steps now full of grace and serenity. She passed by gardens filled with flowers that swayed in the breeze and trees with golden fruits that sparkled in the sunlight. Everything around her seemed to glow with the same warmth she felt inside. Along the path, she met the creatures she had encountered throughout her journey. The owl, the fox, the beaver, and even the squirrel. All of them had been waiting for her, as if the kingdom itself had called them here to witness her arrival. "You made it, Lumi," the owl said, its eyes filled with pride. "You found the Sun Kingdom, and in doing so, you found yourself." Lumi smiled, a sense of contentment filling her heart. "It was never about getting here quickly," she said softly. "It was about believing in every step, no matter how slow. That's what brought me to the Sun Kingdom." The creatures gathered around her, nodding in understanding. Together, they walked slowly through the kingdom, basking in the golden glow of the sun. Lumi felt a deep sense of peace, knowing that her journey had been more than just a path. It had been a beautiful, meaningful adventure. As Lumi wandered deeper into the Sun Kingdom, she felt a profound sense of harmony between herself and the world around her. The golden fields stretched endlessly, and the soft, warm sunlight seemed to touch everything it illuminated. She passed by serene lakes that reflected the sky above, where gentle ripples danced across the water like a peaceful song. The air was filled with the sound of birds singing softly, their melodies blending with the wind. The creatures who had accompanied her on her journey, each one that had offered guidance, wisdom, or simply companionship, were now by her side in the kingdom, and they too seemed at peace. They had all found their place in this magical realm, just as Lumi had. They moved together, sharing in the beauty of the Sun Kingdom, and in that shared moment, Lumi realized something important. The kingdom was not about the destination at all. It was about the connections she had made along the way, and the ways in which she had grown. Lumi sat on a soft patch of grass, surrounded by her companions. The sky above her shimmered with a soft golden glow, and she closed her eyes, letting the warmth of the sun seep into her bones. It was then that she understood. The Sun Kingdom was not just a place of beauty, but a reflection of her own inner strength and peace. The more she believed in herself, the more she trusted in her slow, steady pace, the brighter her world had become. In that peaceful moment, Lumi felt the weight of the world lift from her. She was no longer a turtle struggling against time. She was a traveler who had discovered that every step, no matter how small, was part of something far greater. The journey was her own, and it had led her exactly where she was meant to be. And in that knowledge, she found true peace. As Lumi sat, feeling the warmth of the Sun Kingdom wrap around her like a comforting embrace, she noticed something unusual. In the distance, a faint, shimmering light caught her eye, rising above the horizon like the first rays of dawn. It was as if the kingdom itself was speaking to her, inviting her to explore further. Intrigued, Lumi stood and began to walk toward the light. Her steps were slow and purposeful, each one grounded in the wisdom she had gained throughout her journey. The air around her seemed to hum with a quiet energy, as though the very land was alive, vibrating with life and meaning. As she drew closer to the light, she discovered it was coming from a small, radiant tree at the heart of the kingdom. Its branches stretched upward, glowing with a soft, ethereal light, and its leaves shimmered like gold. The tree was unlike anything Lumi had ever seen, its beauty beyond words. In front of the tree stood a figure, cloaked in golden robes. It was neither human nor animal, but something more, a presence that seemed to embody the very spirit of the Sun Kingdom. The figure smiled as Lumi approached, its face kind and serene. "Welcome, Lumi," the figure said, its voice gentle yet full of strength. "You have come far and you have learned much. You have proven that the journey is not about how quickly you travel, but about the belief in your own steps. The Sun Kingdom is not a place. It is a state of being, a reflection of your own inner light." Lumi felt a wave of understanding wash over her. She had come so far not just physically but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. The Sun Kingdom was not a distant land. It had always been within her, waiting to be discovered. And now, standing before the radiant tree, she understood that she was a part of it all. The sun, the sky, the earth, and the journey itself. The figure in golden robes stepped forward, its presence both peaceful and powerful. Lumi stood still, her heart racing in the calm of the moment. The golden figure raised one hand and gestured to the radiant tree behind it. "This tree represents the wisdom and light that exists within all things," it said softly. "It grows not by rushing, but by embracing the quiet strength of time. Just as you did, Lumi, step by step, slowly but surely." Lumi's gaze lingered on the tree's glowing branches, its golden leaves shimmering like the very sun itself. She felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. It was as if every moment of her journey, the teasing, the patience, the lessons, and the encounters with the animals who had crossed her path, had led her to this one understanding. The Sun Kingdom wasn't just about finding a place or reaching a destination. It was about realizing that each moment, no matter how slow, was filled with purpose. The figure continued, its voice like a soft breeze. You have reached the kingdom, but now you must understand that you are already a part of it. The sun's warmth, the sky's endless reach, the earth's steady embrace, they all exist within you. The kingdom is not a far-off land, but the belief you carry in your heart that each step, no matter how small, leads to something greater. Lumi closed her eyes, allowing the figure's words to sink deep within her. She felt the warmth of the sun and the peace of the kingdom fill her being. The kingdom was not just a dream she had chased. It was the manifestation of her inner strength and belief in herself. And as she stood in the glow of this realization, she knew that the journey would never truly end. Every step she took would continue to guide her toward growth, toward light, toward peace. As Lumi stood before the radiant tree, her heart swelling with understanding, she felt a deep sense of calm settle within her. The golden light from the tree bathed her in warmth, its glow now feeling like an extension of her own inner peace. It was as though the entire Sun Kingdom had come alive within her. Each leaf, each ray of light, and each soft breeze a reminder of the strength she had discovered through her journey. The figure in golden robes spoke again, this time with a soft smile. You've learned that it is not the speed of your journey that matters, but the heart with which you walk. You have reached the Sun Kingdom, but more importantly, you have found the Sun Kingdom within yourself. Lumi nodded slowly, her eyes still fixed on the shimmering tree. For the first time, she understood that her journey wasn't about achieving a specific destination. It was about the journey itself, about embracing the lessons learned and the growth experienced along the way. The kingdom was not a place she had to physically arrive at. It had always been within her, waiting to be discovered. The figure continued. You now carry the warmth of the Sun Kingdom wherever you go. It will guide you, protect you, and remind you that each small step is part of a much larger, beautiful journey. Even when the world around you moves quickly, you have learned to trust your pace, knowing that every step is a step toward greater wisdom. Lumi's heart filled with gratitude and peace. The warmth of the Sun Kingdom wasn't just something external. It was a reflection of the light within her, a light that had always been there, waiting to shine. She no longer needed to race or hurry. She simply needed to trust in her own journey, knowing that every step, no matter how small, would lead her exactly where she needed to be. Lumi stood there, in the heart of the Sun Kingdom, her heart light and full of understanding. She looked around at the kingdom, now fully aware that it was not just a physical realm, but an inner world, one that existed within her as much as it existed in the land around her. The soft glow of the trees, the warmth of the sun, the endless sky above, it was all a reflection of her own steady journey and quiet strength. As Lumi walked slowly through the kingdom, the creatures she had met along the way appeared beside her once more. The owl perched on a branch, the fox trotted by her side, and even the squirrel, who had once teased her for being slow, now walked beside her with a deep sense of respect. They had all been part of her journey, teaching her patience, kindness, and the importance of believing in herself. The journey that had started with mockery and doubt had transformed into something much greater. It had become a journey of self-discovery, one where every step, no matter how slow, had taught her something valuable. And now, standing in the heart of the Sun Kingdom, Lumi realized that the destination had never been the goal. The real reward was the transformation she had undergone, the strength, the wisdom, and the belief in herself that she had found along the way. With each step she took, the kingdom seemed to grow brighter, its golden light shimmering in harmony with her own inner light. She no longer felt the need to rush. She had found the kingdom, and she had found herself. Lumi sat down in a soft patch of grass, the sun's warm rays resting on her shell, and let out a contented sigh. This was the place she had been seeking all along, the place where the journey mattered more than the destination. And now she could rest, knowing that each slow step she took had led her to this perfect moment of peace. As the days passed in the Sun Kingdom, Lumi's sense of peace deepened. The golden glow of the kingdom, the soft winds that whispered through the trees, and the serene landscape became her sanctuary. She no longer felt the pressure to rush, for she had come to understand the beauty of simply being, of embracing the present moment. Her journey had taught her that the true magic lay not in reaching a destination, but in the way she moved through the world, step by patient step. Lumi spent her days reflecting on her journey, basking in the warmth of the Sun Kingdom and allowing the gentle rays to wash over her. She would sit beneath the radiant tree, her thoughts quiet and clear, remembering the creatures who had crossed her path. The wise owl, the helpful beaver, the cheerful fox, and the playful squirrel. They had all been part of her story, teaching her lessons that would stay with her forever. One evening, as the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the golden fields, Lumi felt a gentle whisper in the breeze. It was the same voice that had called her to the Sun Kingdom in the first place. And now, it seemed to carry with it a message of finality. You have found the kingdom within yourself, Lumi. You have discovered the power of your own pace, the beauty of every step, and the strength of your own heart. Rest now, for your journey has led you exactly where you were meant to be. Lumi closed her eyes, feeling a deep sense of calm wash over her. She was home, not because she had reached a distant place, but because she had found peace within herself. And as the golden light of the Sun Kingdom wrapped around her like a soft, warm blanket, Lumi drifted into a restful sleep, knowing that the journey had been worth every step. Sweet dreams.